I got the rear tailpost mask off and the rotisserie mounted back up front and rear. Got my bogey wheels off and put away, and get those two landing gear attach fittings masked off, taped off, and then we'll be ready to wash it down with Prepsol. This thing fits in here pretty good, but I wished I'd had it another 2 foot wider. When I start rolling this over on that rotisserie, it's gonna take up all the room in here. It's gonna make it a little bit tight, but it'll work. Well, we got everything all ready to paint. Got the fuselage in here, mounted back up on its rotisserie. I went over everything and washed it all down with the acrylic Prepsol, and had it all ready to go. But the power went out. It's been out all day, so I haven't been able to do anything. Got no lights, of course no air compressor or anything, so we're on hold here. Just debating on whether or not it's too hot in here to do that now. The temperature is warmed up from the mid 50s in the daytime now to 85 in the daytime, and that solvent that I got 65 to 75, and it's probably hotter than that in here in this Visqueen enclosure, this paint booth. Even though it's out of the direct sun for part of the day, it gets pretty warm in here, so I can do it this evening. Maybe when they get done with working on the power line or whatever they're doing, hopefully they'll get that taken care of pretty soon, and we'll be able to get the first coat of polybrush on here anyway. I got the first spray coat, the mist coat and the spray coat of polybrush on, and it went on like crap. It was just too warm, I guess. I'd mixed it up just exactly the way it was supposed to, and I waited till about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night before I started. The temperature dropped down into the 70s, or down to 70, I guess, something like that. Well, I thought it'd be good enough. It'd be cooling down as we went along. And I sprayed the first coat on, the mist coat on, and it went on okay. But the second coat, it went on like crap. It started getting cotton candying or spider webs coming off of there, cobwebs, and it was spattering out hard red dye spots and stuff like that. And I thought I could fix it by changing the settings on the spray gun, but I probably should have went and cleaned up a new spray gun and used it. That one had set for a week or more before I started using it on this, and I think it got some hard stuff in it. Anyway, it wasn't spraying right. I thought I could get it by just adjusting it, but I finally got the bottom here adjusted right. Set. The bottom didn't do so bad. I run out of polybrush, what I had mixed up, and I went back and mixed some more up and mixed some more reducer in it and got it to flow better, but I guess it was just too warm. I finally went in the next day and looked at the book, the polyfiber manual, and it said when it's doing that, it's because that stuff is drying too fast and need to add more reducer to it or wait till the temperatures are cooler. So anyway, I was running low on reducer, and I thought I had enough reducer to do the next coat of polycoat and a couple coats of poly spray, and I ordered some more reducer from Stoddard's in Anchorage. They have it shipped down on a cargo plane. It has to go through a handler to do that because it's hazmat, costs through the nose. But they kind of sidelined the stuff someplace and it didn't show up, and finally I started calling around, and anyway I finally got it. And when I did, I went ahead and took the paint gun and filled it up a couple times with reducer and sprayed over the whole airframe. It was rough. There was nothing smooth on it or anything. It was all over and spots and stuff all over it. Well, spraying it with the reducer kind of melted the surface down in so that it blended in a little bit and kind of softened up the high spots, but it certainly didn't take them off. So I let that dry for a whole day. it was been so hot that it couldn't really paint anyway or spray anyway, so I let it dry. And I just went over it with 400 grit sandpaper over the whole thing and got it smoothed down. So there were hangers on there, it looked like lint and stuff, but it was the poly brush that had dried out, strung all over. That stuff has a tendency to collect on the cut edges anyway, on the pinked edges and stuff, and that stuff, when it's dry, it really collects on the pinked edges, and it didn't raise them, but it gathers on there, and even on any of the cut edges or anything, and on the hard surfaces where it goes, where you got tape over a hard surface and stuff, it gathers up there. Well, anyway, I just went over it with a real lightly with 400 grit sandpaper, knocked all the high spots down and stuff. I'm still going to go over it with a razor blade and clean up a few spots that I didn't want to put too much pressure on with the sandpaper and get those down. But anyway, I got that done. This will get washed down now with acrylicline, and we'll be ready to put the second coat of poly brush on it. But maybe it was a good thing that happened, because going over that with sandpaper, I did find a couple of spots where there was some pressure on the fabric and on the tape, and a couple of spots where even where they're taped over, a couple of tapes overlap, there's still kind of a hard spot underneath it that's going to put pressure on it. So I went and cut some more of those silver dollar patches, and I'm putting those on a few spots. There's one spot there right underneath the back of the cabin area where that Piper U-channel ends and that lower stringer comes out of it. That was protruding pretty good and rubbing there. So I put a little dollar patch on it, and then right up above it, where that seaplane fitting is attached there, most of that was all covered underneath and everything with a tape that went across, and then the longeron tape went over that. But there's a little tang that sticks up on that one little post that goes up there that was rubbing, and so I put a dollar patch on it. And then right there where that bolt is, where that water rudder control cable is, that's right where the rear section of the fuselage splices into the forward section of the fuselage, and there's a lump right there, welded and stuff there, and that was kind of protruding out and making a white spot there, so I put a patch on it. And this is all on the left side. You go ahead and flip it over and put some on the right side the same way. There's a few spots there that look like they might develop into sore spots eventually. They're not right now, but I'll get those covered up now, and then I won't have to worry about it.